Hey there, it's Max. This is the Hack Man challenge from the 6th year of the Spokane Cyber Cup. It's written by Daniel. I think it's a really fun challenge. So, this is what it looks like, but we're going to read the prompt first. Hack Man. Can you hack Pac Man? The goal is to open the chest in the middle of the map. Use whatever means necessary. It gives you a link. And this is where the link takes you to. We've had challenges really similar to this in the past. The goal is to kind of reverse engineer how the application works to get yourself to a particular point. If you look here, there's a treasure chest right in the middle. The goal is to get to that treasure chest. And again, with whatever means necessary. So because we have access to the JavaScript, of course, we can do some weird debugging thing and just add ourselves to it or into that region. And that's what we're going to do. So if you look at Daniel's solution, there's actually different ways to solve this. You could just completely remove collision from it. You could delete the wall. There's a lot of different ways you can go about doing this. But from trial and error and talking with Daniel, it seemed like the easiest way is to just like change the position. This really looks like a challenge from last year that Ken wrote where there was a box and you in a Pokemon game, and you had to get within that box by editing the memory. The JavaScript is a little bit different. Instead of looking at raw bytes and memory, you're more so trying to understand the JavaScript and use the developer debugging tools for yourself. So it says that the relevant code is here, but we can find that ourselves. We can do more tools and web developer tools. And this is in Firefox, but there's similar ways to do this in Chrome as well. Can I make this bigger? I can't make my dev tools bigger. That's annoying, but okay, we're gonna deal with it. So the inspector is the HTML. The console is the general console to interact with JavaScript. The debugger is actually what has the game code. So if we click here, there's two JavaScript files. There's game.js and index.js. We can see that one of them has there are different map values in here. There's the game logic. A lot of stuff's going on here. And these are really the only things we need to be able to handle. So in the development tools, we can add breakpoints. We can edit values. There's a lot of stuff we can do here. Now, this may be fairly overwhelming if you've never looked at JavaScript, and I get that. That's part of the fun, is trying to read this code and see how it works. So the game doesn't have all of the logic in it. It looks like it's just index.js, which is a little bit bigger. If we scroll down, and if you're trying to solve this, you'd actually try to read all this code and understand what's happening. I think the easiest way is to just put breakpoints and stuff. So if we go here, if we press start, we can add a breakpoint to something like this, and it gets hit. And we can say, okay, what's going on here? Okay, what is sick? Okay, there's a timeout. Oh, the timeout must be when the ghosts are getting captured or something like that. So I find that using the debugger is really helpful for this. Anyway, so if we go here, we need to find where the graphics are actually being updated at, or the location. The goal is to get within this box, and so we can just change the coordinates of it. Now, Daniel's recommendation is what we're going to follow. We're going to turn on the ghost. We're going to go here, and then we're going to pause. And while in this pausing state, actually, I think it does update coordinates, so that's nice for us. So now we're at this point, we can start to kind of see where this coordinate updating stuff happens at. From looking at this before, I know where it's at, and what we actually want to deal with is this 993 function. This is where this player structure is being touched. I think that's the important one. The player structure has the coordinate information and has a starting point, but we want to be able to edit that, see what it is. So if we go to the console, actually first we need to set a breakpoint here, and then we can do play. You'll notice it says debugger pause, which means we've actually hit this in our code. And we can look at it here, but those have static values. So I personally like looking at it from the console. So we can do player, and we notice it has all this information. That's pretty nice. And if we do coordinate, that's the starting point. So we can see that there's an X value and a Y value, and that actually corresponds to the actual location that the user is currently at. So that's what we want to update. And right now, it says that the X is at 250 and the Y is at 300. So if we can change and see what happens. If we do player.x equals 150, what happens? We can do play. You notice there's a flash here. We can do that a few times. Look how much further over the Pac Man is now. So if we want to do this again at the same breakpoint, we can set it to something like 315. And now if we do play, we'll actually be in the middle of the chest. So this ends up getting us the flag. The flag is obfuscated within the challenge so that you can't just like read the source code. You actually have to get into the treasure chest area. I think it's pretty cool. So to recap, you gotta read through the JavaScript, you gotta set breakpoints, you gotta play around with the values in order to get this to work. You can use the console like I do. I think it's easier because you can see more things, but I believe in Daniel's solution he uses Chrome. And in Chrome, it says open the browser dev tool, set the breakpoint, click closure in the scope tab, and then select the player. So at this point, once you're at the breakpoint, you can just update the player structure in line as opposed to setting it like I have. But they both work all the same. Cool. So it says SC5. I'm too lazy to change it. That's just how it's going to be. Thanks for playing. Hope you guys had a good time with this challenge.